Welcome to Wealth Hustle 247 podcast, your trusted guide to financial literacy, business innovation, and entrepreneurial success. Learn how to grow your wealth, make informed decisions, and turn your ideas into profitable ventures.
Welcome to today's episode. We're exploring 15 assets that are claimed to make people wealthy. From real estate to stocks and even digital currencies, these assets have helped people build and preserve wealth. Join us as we break down each one and see how they can fit into your financial strategy.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to dive into another deep dive. Today we're talking about building wealth, and you guys sent in a really interesting video to unpack 15 assets that are making people rich from alux.com.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I got pretty into it. So we're not just going to list out these assets, right? We're going deeper, looking at WHY. These things actually work, so you walk away with, something you can use.
Exactly. It's about understanding those underlying principles that drive wealth creation. Because knowledge is power, right? And knowing how these assets work can empower you to make smarter financial decisions.
Yeah, I bet. So the video starts strong right off the bat with this classic principle. Assets put money in your pocket, liabilities take it out. Like, duh, right? But it's surprising how many people miss that.
It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day of managing money and forget about the bigger picture. But at its core, building wealth is about creating a system where your money is working for you, not the other way around.
Yeah, it's like having your money be your employee instead of you being a slave to it.
I like that.
So the video starts with some assets we've all heard of, cash and real estate. But even with these, there are some curveballs, right? Like, they talk about cash, and I was like, wait, isn't cash kind of meh? With inflation and all?
Yeah, it's a common misconception that holding cash is a bad thing, especially in today's economic climate with inflation running rampant. But a healthy cash reserve isn't about getting rich quickly. It's about
being ready.
Exactly. It's about having that liquidity to seize opportunities when they arise.
It's like that saying, you got to have money to make money.
Exactly. Think of it as dry powder, ready to be deployed when the perfect investment opportunity presents itself.
Okay, so cash more strategic than I thought. What about real estate? I mean, everyone says real estate is the key.
It can be, but the video differentiates, right?
Yeah.
Your primary residence, the place you live, might not be the asset you think it is.
It's money pit. Just kidding. Sort of.
Haha. Well, there are definitely expenses. Mortgage payments, property taxes, upkeep, repairs, it all adds up. So while your home might appreciate in value over time, it's not actively generating income.
Unless you have roommates.
True. Or if you rent it out on Airbnb or something, but that comes with a whole different set of considerations.
Okay, so maybe not the cash cow we thought. But then they talk about rental properties. Now that's generating passive income, right?
It can be. If you do it right, you're providing housing, and that's always in demand. But it's not entirely passive. There's definitely work involved, finding tenants, maintenance, dealing with, well, tenants.
Right. Being a landlord isn't for everyone, that's for sure. But it can be lucrative. Okay, so we've covered cash, real estate. Now the video dives into the world of, well, Wall Street, stocks, bonds, all that.
And they do a really good job of simplifying it. Like stocks, they explain it as owning a piece of a company. You're not just buying a ticker symbol. You're participating in the potential growth of a real business.
And we all know there are a ton of companies out there, so they bring up diversification, right? Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. They talk about mutual funds and index funds, which are essentially baskets of stocks that allow you to spread your risk.
Yeah. They seem especially keen on index funds, especially Vanguard and the S&P 500. What makes index funds so special?
Index funds are designed to track a specific market index, like the S&P 500, which represents 500 of the largest U.S. companies. So instead of trying to pick individual winners...
Which is like nearly impossible to do consistently, right?
Exactly. With index funds, you're basically betting on the overall long-term growth of the market. And historically, the S&P 500 has performed very well.
Makes sense. So less risk, but maybe less reward too, right? That's where bonds come in, I guess.
Yeah, bonds are seen as a bit more, shall we say, conservative. It's essentially lending money to a government or a corporation in exchange for interest payments.
So it's like an IOU, but from, like, the government.
Basically. And they're generally considered lower risk because they offer a fixed rate of return. You know what you're getting.
Less exciting? Maybe. But hey, I'll take steady income any day. Steady income, IS, good. But you know what else is good? A good team. And that's actually the next asset. They talk about people. which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, it's easy to think about assets as just physical or financial things, right? But a strong team, that's an asset you can't put a price tag on.
Totally. They use the example of Apple, like where would they be without Steve Jobs and that whole team of innovators?
Exactly. Visionary leadership, a culture of creativity, a team that works well together, it's all part of what makes a company successful.
I've definitely worked on some, let's call them less than cohesive teams. And let me tell you, it makes a difference.
Oh, for sure. The right team can make all the difference. It's like that saying, teamwork makes the dream work.
So true. Okay, so we've talked about cash, real estate, stocks, bonds, even people as assets. And now the video takes us on a little detour into, well, things I never thought of as assets like raw materials, commodities. They even mention art.
Right. This is where it gets interesting thinking outside the box. Raw materials like oil and gold, they're the building blocks of, well, everything, right?
Yeah, and their prices go up and down all the time, so there's potential to make money there. But sounds risky too.
It can be. You really need to know what you're doing, like understanding market cycles, supply and demand.
Yeah, if I tried to get into commodity trading, I'd probably lose my shirt. Art, on the other hand, that I understand.
Well, art as an investment is a whole other beast. But yes, they mention how art has actually outperformed the stock market in recent years.
It's always fascinating to me how something that's considered, a luxury good can also be a smart investment. But I guess that applies to a lot of things. Vintage cars, wine.
Absolutely. It's about understanding the principles of scarcity, desirability, the fact that some things just increase in value over time. But they make a crucial point about due diligence. Whether you're investing in art, classic cars, or Beanie Babies, do your research.
Oh, yeah, Beanie Babies thought those were going to be my ticket to retirement.
We've all had our investment dreams. But yeah, knowledge is key. Don't just jump into something blindly.
Words to live by. Okay, so we've covered a lot of tangible assets, but now let's talk about something a little more. Intangible digital products. This is where things got really interesting for me.
Oh, yeah, digital products are huge right now. It's the age of the creator economy.
Right. It's like this whole new world of opportunity. Creating something once and getting paid for it again and again. That's the dream.
Exactly. Think about online courses, ebooks, music, software. The possibilities are endless.
They give the example of Mariah Carey, her Christmas song.
A classic.
Right. It supposedly makes her like $500,000 a year in royalties.
That's the power of intellectual property. You create something once, and it can continue to generate income for years, even decades.
It's amazing. Like, imagine writing a book or recording a song that people love for years to come. You're still earning money from it while you're, like, sipping margaritas on a beach somewhere.
Living the dream. And it's not just limited to big names like Mariah Carey. Anyone can do this. The internet has leveled the playing field. You don't need a record deal or a publishing house to reach a global audience.
Exactly. You can create your own website, sell your ebook directly, or build an audience on YouTube, Instagram. The sky's the limit.
And the best part is, you're not just building wealth, you're sharing your knowledge, your passions, your creativity with the world. It's incredibly empowering.
Totally. It's like that saying, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
But also potentially make a ton of money.
Exactly. And that brings us to another interesting concept from the video syndication.
Oh, yeah, like those TV shows that just seem to play forever in reruns. They mentioned Friends. The cast still makes bank from that.
Millions. It's a great example of how creating something valuable once can lead to ongoing income for years and years.
Makes you want to write the next Friends, doesn't it?
Well, I wouldn't mind. But it illustrates a point something. Think long term. Think about how you can create assets that generate passive income.
Okay, so we've covered tangible assets, digital assets. Now things get a little more, abstract. They talk about unique legal advantages.
Right, like how Native American tribes in the U.S. have certain rights to operate casinos.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
It's a unique situation, right? They have a legal advantage that allows them to operate in a way that others can't. And it's translated into huge economic opportunities.
It makes you think, are there other examples like that? Like, I know churches and nonprofits don't have to pay taxes.
Yeah, that's another example. It's not about owning a physical asset, but having a certain status or structure that provides a benefit.
Right. It's about understanding the rules of the game, so to speak, and leveraging them to your advantage.
Precisely. And that segues nicely into the next concept they discuss. First mover advantage.
Being the first one to do something to bring a new product or service to market.
Exactly. Think about Apple and the App Store. They were the first, and they've dominated that space ever since.
Or Netflix, moving from DVDs to streaming.
Brilliant move. They saw where things were headed, adapted quickly, and gained a massive advantage over Blockbuster, who was still stuck in the DVD rental business model.
And look what happened to Blockbuster.
Exactly. First mover advantage can be a powerful thing. But it's not just about being first, it's about being adaptable, seeing the trends before they become mainstream.
It's like they say the early bird gets the worm. Or in this case, the early streamer gets millions of subscribers.
Huh?
But okay, there's one more concept from the video we have to talk about. This one really blew my mind. They call it money time arbitrage.
Ah, yes, that one. It's a bit of a head scratcher at first, but once you grasp it,
It's like a light bulb moment.
exactly, it can really shift your whole perspective on wealth building.
So for those of us who haven't reached that aha moment yet, break it down. What is money time arbitrage?
Well, think about it. Most of us trade our time for money, right? We have jobs, we work a certain number of hours, we get paid,
The daily grind.
right? But money time arbitrage is about flipping that script. It's about using your money to buy back your time.
So instead of being stuck trading hours for dollars,
Yeah.
you're creating a system where your money is working for you, generating more money, which then buys you more time.
Exactly. It's about breaking free from those limitations and building something that generates income even when you're not actively working.
Okay, I'm starting to see the light here. So give me an example. How does this work in the real world?
Well, they use the example of starting a business. At first, you're investing a lot of time, right? Building it from the ground up.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
Exactly. But as it grows, as you start generating revenue, you can hire people, right? You're essentially using your money to buy back some of your time.
So you can focus on the bigger picture, the strategic stuff, instead of being bogged down in the day-to-day.
Exactly. And the more the business grows, the more you can reinvest those profits, leveraging them to create even more income, which buys you even more time.
It's like that snowball effect. It just keeps building and building.
Exactly. And this principle, it applies to more than just traditional businesses. Think about creating an online course, writing a book, even building a YouTube channel with a huge following.
You create it once, but it has the potential to generate income for years to come.
Exactly. It's about building assets, physical or digital, that continue to work for you even while you sleep.
Wow, this deep dive has been incredible. We've covered so much ground, from tangible assets like real estate and gold to intangible assets like intellectual property and brand value. We even talked about the importance of a strong team and the power of first mover advantage. And then this whole concept of money time arbitrage, mind-blowing.
It really makes you think differently about wealth building. It's not just about saving more or getting lucky in the stock market. It's about understanding these underlying principles and strategies.
Exactly. It's about being proactive, thinking long-term, and creating a system that works for you. So for anyone listening who's feeling inspired to take control of their financial future, what's one piece of advice you would give them? What's the first step?
I'd say start by identifying your strengths, your passions, and your resources. What unique skills or knowledge do you have that you could leverage to create something of value?
Because we all have something to offer, right? Whether it's a knack for baking, a passion for photography, or a talent for teaching.
Exactly. The key is to identify those strengths and find ways to monetize them. And don't be afraid to think outside the box. The opportunities are out there if you're willing to look for them.
I love that. So there you have it, folks, a deep dive into 15 assets that are making people rich. Hopefully you're walking away with some actionable insights and a fresh perspective on how to build wealth and create a life of financial freedom.
And remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So what will your first step be?
That's it for today's episode of Wealth Hustle 247. Be sure to follow, like, comment, and share with others. Keep pushing toward your goals, and we'll see you in the next episode.